cyberpunks and retro nerds, welcome back to another episode of Neon Trash. Johnny Rocket here with Tommy the Hammer, and the twos of us here are going to be watching one of my favorite movies of all time, actually. One of my favorite comedies, I should specify. That would be Young Frankenstein, a Mel Brooks feature starring Gene Wilder. And, I mean, I've seen this a bunch. I know you've seen this a bunch. Oh, yeah. It's been a long time for me.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And, I don't know, I knew it was my pick, and I looked in the movie cabinet, and my eyes went directly to this, and I was like, it's time. So, without further ado, you know this part. Check out the trailer. Peep that shit! And when y'alls get back with us, you'll know our opinion on Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein, the scariest comedy of all time, is back with chills, thrills, and spills. Starring Gene Wilder, Marty Feldman, Peter Boyle, and Madeline Kahn.
No tongues.
Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein is back. Rated PG.
Now showing at theaters near you. Check your newspaper.
The funniest comedy of all time. That's what it says in the box. And I really can't disagree with them all that much. I could disagree with that, honestly. But no. But I mean, for when you come to Mel Brooks, honestly, though, should I bring them back otherwise?
I mean, I like what you were doing
Okay,
there.
I don't know. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Alright, so we just got done watching Young Frankenstein here, and the box says the funniest comedy of all time. And this movie, it makes a strong case for that, really. You know, I mean, you have to be, you know, into this kind of humor, you know, like this very slapsticky, you know, gags and one-liners every 3 seconds type of thing, you know. But, I mean, fuck, I laughed my ass off at this all over again. As many times as I've seen this, like, this was still so hilarious. And, I mean, I'm catching even, like, more jokes and laughing at it. Like, I remember watching this with my dad. Like, I know you watched this with your dad.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and we know what they laughed at and everything. And it's like, now I really understand why they were laughing at certain scenes. And, like, you get it all now. Like, we're at that point, like, where we get everything that this movie was laying down, where maybe we didn't quite pick that up in our teenage years when we first saw it. You know, there was still enough sight gags and slapstick to be hilarious to us back then. But now it's like, wow, this movie is really working on so many levels.
You know, I gotta echo John here. You know, growing up with my father, he played a lot of Mel Brooks films for me growing up. So maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe it was like, you know, our dads, you know, they were into this kind of progressive sense of humor, and Mel Brooks was definitely ahead of the curve. I mean, when you watch his films and you consider the era that they came out during, they were meta. They were very edgy, and they took chances. It wasn't like, you know, these old kind of like Jerry Lewis jokes. They were very breaking the fourth wall. They were taking chances in terms of, you know, the subject matter with, like, you know, sex and, you know, maybe more abstract comedy concepts. And, you know, the whole counterculture movement was kind of coming, you know, to be during that era. So I feel like his films really changed the game. And yeah, maybe scripted comedy itself is a little paint by numbers, a little expected. You know, you can see the jokes kind of coming around the curve.
But this was like the first to really get there. Like, these were those first, like, meta movies, honestly. Like I can't really think of anything else, personally, that really, like, looked at cinema itself and was started, you know, poking fun at itself. You know, it seems like he was one of the first directors to really do that kind of thing.
There's a scene with Gene Hackman that I had no idea was fucking Gene Hackman until today.
Same. Like, I had no idea until Tom's like, wait a minute, that's Gene Hackman. I'm like, no, that's not Gene Hackman. He's like, yes. And we looked, and sure as shit, it is Gene Hackman. You know, and then suddenly you have this throwaway scene that you kind of snooze through as a kid. You're like, oh my God, this is hilarious.
It's brilliant.
You know, I mean, sure, there's some physical gags in that scene that keep you laughing, but the fact that it's Gene Hackman on top of it. Like,
I heard his voice and I was like, that's Lex Luthor. Wait a second. And I grabbed the VHS case and I was like, what the fuck? And like my brain rearranged at that moment. We've said a lot about old Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein. Great movie. We're going to do star counts. Right off the rip, Johnny Boy, this is your pick. Excellent selection.
Thank you.
Where are you at with the star counts tonight?
Dang. Well, like I said, this is probably my favorite Mel Brooks movie. As much as I love Blazing Saddles, honestly, this is just such a great flick. And it might not quite be perfect, but it's pretty damn close for me. I'm giving this 9.5 stars out of 10.
Wowzers. That is
there you go.
A fair and great review.
It's a must watch.
I'll agree with that. I feel like Young Frankenstein itself is definitely a must watch, especially in terms of the director's prolific career. Star count wise, is it my favorite movie by the director? Maybe not. This is almost a near perfect horror parody. I love those old black and white Universal monster movies. I grew up with those films. I can totally respect The Mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula, you name it, Creature from the Black Lagoon. And Mel Brooks right here does it with such a loving eye.
He really does.
I gotta give this movie, it's a high 8.5, almost a 9. I hope these two assholes have been informative. Until the next time, motherfuckers, tune in to Neon Trash. Bye, guys.